In the last 3 years, me and my wife, we've worked on scaling our business that we started, literally from the ground up, from zero to where it's at now, between a $1 and $2 million run rate. And this is going to be me just like documenting the journey. It's not going to be super pretty all the time. There's going to be a lot of ups and downs, guaranteed. But this is me documenting the journey on us going from where we're at currently now to scaling to 8 figures. I kind of wish I had started this from the beginning, but obviously I just wasn't there to create the content. I wasn't in the zone. I wasn't ready for that. Now I'm ready, and I'm not doing it for me. I'm really doing it for you. I wish there was someone, if I could go back to when I was like 19, 21, you know, uh, and could have a better vision of, or even just know, like, see with my own eyes that it was like possible to do, even what like me and my wife have done so far. Um, I would kill for that because there's so much lying. There's so many Lamborghinis in the online space. There's so many people who just spit out large numbers, but don't like back it up at all. They don't have any evidence, or they're just they're just lying, right? And I'm gonna do my best to be as transparent as possible with you guys. I'm gonna do my best to show as much as possible, and not only that, but also share as much of my knowledge as possible. I don't want to just have this light, fluffy, like, oh, it's day in the life. No, 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 no. That's not what I want this to be. If that is what this is, please unfollow me now. Um, anyways, I want this to help you on your journey to success, whatever that looks like for you. For some people, that's building a multi-million, multi 8 figure, 9 figure business, right? It's having stores across the US. It's building a software that's used internationally. It is having a team. It's having a boutique agency that works with high level clients. It looks different for everyone, but I want to help you. I want to give you the tools. I want to help you as much as I can. And I won't be able to help everyone, but I want to help you as much as I can along that journey. And it's just going to be a lot of me. It's going to be me, obviously building the business. I'm going to try and also include like I training for some ultra marathons right now, and Ironman. I'm gonna include that. Also live here in Colorado, so of course I'm gonna be talking to you guys about the wonderful world of business while I'm running up mountains and stuff because that just seems overly fitting for who I am. And um, that's what this is. So welcome along. We'll see how many of these put out. I have a pretty ambitious goal. I'm not gonna share it. I'm not gonna share it because my share goals doesn't always go wonderfully for me. Uh, but I've got a system in place. It's very aggressive. Um, and I have some interesting ideas on how I'm going to distribute this to you guys. That way, no matter what you're doing, you guys can keep up to speed on the process, on the journey, and learn as much as you can without having to necessarily sit down on a computer and hit play on this video, right? So I will let you know what all of that is. In the description, and over time, essentially I'm going to make this available as a podcast, and I'm also going to try and clip this up into shorts. That way, as as it's a podcast, Apple or Spotify, you can log in, you can listen to it when you're working out, on your commute to work, whenever. You don't have to watch this. Number two, obviously, a YouTube video. There will occasionally be graphics. I will occasionally share my screen and show stuff, but I'm going to make this as transparent as possible to be useful if you're also just listening to it. And then also, I'm going to be clipping this up into shorts. That way you guys can consume this in bite-sized portions on your social media accounts if you're just relaxing throughout the day. I kind of had an idea on what to call that. I was going to call it because I was like, this isn't going to be like a vlog, and it's not going to just be like straight education content either. I'm not just going to be like talking to the screen here. Uh, And I was like, oh, I'm also gonna like make it a podcast and short. So it's kind of like a vlog, and that was gonna be like vlogucation, and then I was gonna take the V off because it's obviously not just video, but like who gives a rep? Like all blogs versus vlogs, like it's the same thing. It's just different medium of content, right? And so I was gonna put P on the front and then S, so short form, and then podcast, and then log, so splog, and then it's gonna be like splogucation. I think that's a terrible name for this. Uh, I'll probably just come up with something different that's one word to call whatever this is that I'm doing. Uh, and I will be honest, this part of it, this is where I'm greedy. This is where I actually want to try something different because so many people talk about recording podcasts. I just got back from Grow Video Live with it was Sean Cannell's event, and everyone was talking about how, oh, if you have a podcast, record your podcast, post it on YouTube. People have been doing this for like the last 3 years, right? It's become a very, very big thing. But what no one does, absolutely no one, and this is me, like, I guess, also sharing a tidbit of information, but like in the most greedy way possible that I can. I want to try this where I can create a YouTube video and then share it to podcast and then share it to short form content. And essentially have one piece of content that's equally distributed as much as possible. Podcast is pretty easy. Short form content gets a little sketchier just because of the nature of short form content, but where that piece of content can be equally distributed across all platforms. I'm going to also be utilizing AI to do that. Theoretically, we'll see how well that goes. Apparently, Opus has a new model they rolled out because initially when I was playing around with this, and we were using Munch for a while too, because Munch allowed you to edit it. Because like sometimes these things like they won't cut up the video that well, and if they do cut it up or if they do it quickly, they don't allow you to edit the video. So ideally, though, with Opus now on their new model, it'll cut it up better, so I won't have to screw around with going through cutting, trimming, cutting again, adding subtitles to videos. I'll be able to get this out very efficiently to you guys. And also theoretically, I'm going to use, there's this really cool Chrome extension. Again, take a note, free value here. There is a Chrome extension. I believe it's called YouTube ChatGPT, but you can just like look it up on the Chrome store. It's a pretty popular one. And you can download this Chrome extension, and when you're in YouTube, it pops up this little button next to your YouTube video where it will basically just say summarize YouTube video using ChatGPT, and you click on it and it will basically open up ChatGPT and summarize that entire YouTube video so you don't have to watch it, which is, in my opinion, pretty stinking awesome. But, and you might ask, why are you telling me about this, Soren? I don't really care about that. Well, guess what? If you're a content creator or a business owner and you're trying to maximize the reach you get with one piece of content, what you do is you take that, you put it into ChatGPT, it has the video there, it summarizes it for you. One, you can either take those summaries, spit those out on like X and Threads as content, and then use for titles on slides on Instagram and stories. Or since it already has the YouTube video in ChatGPT, you can say, hey, can you pull the best, and again, this isn't the best prompt for it, but can you pull the best moments out of this video and make them into viral tweets? Or can you, pull, if I were to actually do it, and when you're using ChatGPT, don't just use it once, like throw like 20 different prompts at it and be more specific. The more data you can give it, the better results it's going to give you in return. But like be specific. Using the YouTube video above, can use a framework that generates viral tweets to create the best tweets from this video. Again, that's probably not the best because you're using tweets multiple times. And again, if you don't know how to create a prompt, just ask ChatGPT, hey, ChatGPT, can you tell me what would be an excellent prompt to give you if I wanted you to create viral tweets using specific data? And it will give you a tweet. You can also watch YouTube videos on this. There's a lot of information out there. But my whole point is, the goal of what this is, whatever this is, splogucation, is to be able to distribute it to you guys in the most effective manner possible, efficiently, quickly, and provide you guys the most amount of value I can. Because obviously part of this, like, and like right now I'm driving out to like go get my dog, so I have some time to talk to you guys. But part of this is uh not just me talking into a camera all day. I can't afford to do that. I have bigger fish to fry currently on operations, lead gen fulfillment. I have other things I have to do in our business in order for us to grow. And but here's the thing. I also have some side projects I want to work on top of training and also, being a husband. But here's the thing is I still want to be able to provide the maximum amount of value to you guys. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I'll be able to distribute it to you guys in just a great way. And yeah, that's like my biggest hope for all of this is that you guys can just get an absurd amount of value and that it's entertaining enough, that it's real enough, that it's authentic enough that you actually care to watch it. Also, side note on the format I'm going to be creating this in, I'm going to be doing it in I'll probably do some trimming. And I'm going to include B-roll of different things I do like throughout the day here. But I will not be doing retention edits. AKA, I'm not going to have something exploding in front of you on the screen every 3 seconds. That is not the objective of this. I don't want you to activate that part of your brain. I want you to hopefully consume this in a format that allows you to really let your brain open, let your brain even wander a little bit as you think about like the topics that we discuss here, and think about how they can apply to your life, your own business, and so on. I'm not hoping just to keep you around. And I know this is going to hurt me. Yeah, it's like, Soren, what did you even learn at the YouTube conference? Like, isn't watch time really important? And it is. It is. But while everyone is focusing on creating greater and greater and greater watch time percentages through crazy retention edits, I want to go the opposite direction. I'm going to go against the grain on this. And I'm going to create something that isn't as entertaining, but hopefully is more valuable and hopefully draws your attention because it's more real. I might look back in a week or a month or a year and be like, wow, I was a complete idiot here. But I've seen some creators do this phenomenally well. For example, Sam Solik. He is a beast. Not just from his physique, but from the game he has played on YouTube. And, I'm not trying to emulate, and you guys will see, I have a little bit of a vision for what I want here. And, sometimes I might use graphics. We do have some editors on our team, and I might pull them in to help that. But it's going to be with very, very specific things. Things that I want you guys to grasp visually that doesn't make sense for me to just use words. So, you might be thinking, wow, I've been watching this video for 10 minutes now, and I haven't got a lot of value. And that just might be the fact of it for the first bit here. I'm not going to try and make short content. I'm not going to try and make insanely viral content. My only true objective in doing this is to number one, be consistent, and number two, be as real as possible. Because and this drives me insane. I hate it. Maybe it's biologically, maybe it's how my neurons in my brain are wired. But I watch a lot of content because it's the nature of our job. We do business and marketing consulting, and I watch so much content. And these guys, some of these guys, it's just like, wow, you're full of bullcrap. Um, and sometimes it's really easy to see, and sometimes it's hard to see. And then sometimes you're trying to tell, and I always love this, you're trying to tell if a person is real or not. And that isn't always easy. Because sometimes, and I'm a massive nerd. I studied data science in college. I've always liked looking at numbers. I'll spend a lot of time of my day looking at numbers. And one of the big things that I'll do if I'm trying to figure out if someone is legit or not on the internet, and especially, and it gets a little difficult because there's people, and I'll give an example here. There's people like Cole Gordon who can't do the organic game to save his life. You might go to his Instagram and be like, Soren, you're lying. He has like 500,000 subscribers. Well, they're all from shout outs. You want to look at the actual traffic. You go to the Reels tab and you see how many views each of his posts get. There's other tools you can use to get like some deeper insights. I actually found a really cool one called Buzzlytics. Buzzlitics. If you want to use it. If I'm smart and watch this part of the video, I might include the link down below. If not, good luck. You're on your own. You got the name of it for me. And you can type in any name on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or Reels. But this is just for short form content, granted. So a very specific niche type of marketing. And you can see how many views, like optimal times where they got the most views per hour that they posted, how long on average. It'll break it up by like how long the videos are, say what percentage of views came from videos of XYZ length. So there's a lot of cool information you can get using like this free tool. That's pretty freaking amazing. And like if you look at like Cole Gordon, like his Instagram, he like started a new TikTok this year because his and I suspect this, I don't know for certain. I suspect he thought his first one was dead. Because he couldn't get like any serious traction on it. It was like 200 view jail for life. But the dude makes supposedly $40 million a year. Now I have this thing that I call the internet tax, and how Cole Gordon makes most of his money, from what I can tell, is running paid ads. I think he does some cold outbound. I'm not certain though. I'm pretty sure the vast majority is YouTube leads, or not YouTube leads. I think he does get some YouTube leads. He talks about that some, but mostly ads leads, and then he does like live speaking events. But again, vast majority I do believe is coming from ads. But going back to my internet tax, I just take whatever number people throw out there and I divide it by 2. Cut that sucker in half. And I figure that is realistically within 10 to 20% of what they're actually doing. Because everyone will throw out like the big number. They'll throw out, for example, like $40 million a year. But that might just be like signed contracts. That might not include their bad debt, which, some of these companies can be as much as like 10 to 20%. So again, you take like 8 million off 40 mil, you're down to 32. And that's like assuming contracts, but that doesn't include, and again, that doesn't include processing fees. That doesn't include payroll. It doesn't include all of this other bull crap. Because when you're running a business, people say like top line revenue, which no one like. Top line revenue does not matter. You could make $1 billion a year and you could lose 100 million at the same time. It does not matter. What I typically care about, I care about gross margin, net margin, or your profit, right? Gross is, revenue minus cost of goods sold, whatever. Some people really like EBITDA, but that's typically on the M&A side. Which, I'm going to put an asterisk here. This is kind of fair. Kind of. Because sometimes when you're looking at the books, sometimes people do things to make it look like they have paper losses. which is valid. I understand that no one wants to pay taxes, like especially anytime you get over like 250K a year, uh, from like a personal tax perspective, like you're at like mercy 47, 50%, whatever. Your normal tax rate's like 37%. It's literal insanity. Um, in my opinion, especially for what we get as Americans. That's another issue though. Uh, but uh, people will do that to make paper losses. But at the end of the day, like Cold War, let's say, you take his bad debt, let's say it's 10%, gets you down to 36 mil, and then he spends, let's say, 30%. He gets a 3x ROAS. He could be getting higher, I don't know. But let's just say a 3x ROAS, which, pretty good. Dollar in, $3 out. So 30% of his money is going to marketing. So 30% of 40 mil is another 12 mil. So you've taken off 16 mil, you're down to 24 off of the 40. And that doesn't include payroll for his team. That doesn't include sales commission, which is typically around 10%. You take another 4 mil off, you're down to 20, right? You haven't paid your team yet, which could be big. He might have 10 mil in payroll, and then you haven't hit taxes. So again, you get whittled down, but theoretically, if he's actually grossing 40 mil, theoretically he's bringing in 3 to 5 for himself, right? And who's going to complain on working from home, having a remote team, and bringing home 3 to 5 mil a year? It's not bad, at least in my opinion. You might be like, "Wow, Soren, you suck. 3 to 5 mils, chump change." In which case, please DM me. Please send me a copy of your tax return so we don't have to go through this bullshit internet tax with each other. And let's talk about the numbers. Okay, you don't have to send me a tax return, but I'll take a Stripe screenshot. A little bit of evidence. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I should be doing. I'd appreciate it. I'd love to have the conversation. So anyways, and that kind of like brings us around because like what our goal is to do 8 million. Well, not 8 million, 8 figures, 10 million. Or basically, I mean, if we could do a mil a month, I'd be super happy with a mil a month. But essentially, what we're trying to do is we do a short form organic funnel. We're trying to add in YouTube and podcast to that as well. But theoretically, if we do this right, and I definitely think we could, it's just really the hard thing here is the consistency of it. Once we get to 8 figures, we'll probably turn on a little bit of ad spend, but like that will just be retargeting. We're not going to like try and go after like new audiences because the algorithm's already done like the majority of the hard work for us on finding that target audience. But since we're doing organic, we have fixed costs. Like you're not going to pay your social media manager like 30% revenue. No. It's fixed like salary plus bonus, right? So your costs like don't go up. You don't keep paying more money to Zuckerberg with organic. In fact, at a certain point, he'll start paying you, which I think is really cool. You get paid for distribution. That's the wildest thing in the world we live in of like marketing right now is you get paid for distribution. I'm curious if that will keep going forever indefinitely. If you kind of look at what went on with like talk radio hosts, TV shows, it's possible. It's definitely possible if you create phenomenal content that you'll get paid and you'll get free distribution. In which case, what a time it is to be alive. But going back, we don't have that 30% going to revenue. So theoretically, off 10 mil, we'll profit 3 mil just from what we're not spending on ads, right? That's the objective. I'm sure we'll have other problems along the way there, but we just have to see it because even like with what we do right now, and we've worked with other people who run ads, they'll make as much money as us per se, like top line revenue, but what they take home is significantly less because they have to spend all that money on good old wonderful ads. This is why we always teach at Landing Media. We teach short form content funnel, easy to start, easy to get traction, low barrier of entry. It's insanely competitive, but you don't like if you're creating content that is psychology backed, it's not extremely insane to change your life and get your 3 to 5 clients a month that you need to pay your bills, right? It's not complete insanity to do that. So what it looks like from there in that perspective, and again, this is why we always tell our clients to do this. This is like our first and foremost model, is because instead of spending that money on ads, one, you can spend it, and this is biased. This is me being selfish here. You can spend it on coaching. And I say that because, we do like advisory. We call it advisory because it's not really just coaching at the level at which we're doing it, with the amount of support we offer in our programs. From Slack to one-on-one calls to community to group calls to modules to just feedback support. Like, it's very thorough. In fact, I mean, we've spent almost $150,000, $200,000 in coaching so far. And compared to all of the other programs we've been in, we offer more support than any other program by far. I think our customer service is up there. But our customer service is going to be a lot better in the near future. We're rerouting our customer journey currently. It's going to be amazing. Just hands down. And then just to conclude here, like with the money we've been able to spend on coaches, and that's just like number one. That's what I always recommend, because if you get a coach, someone to hold you accountable, someone that you can learn from, you're just going to scale a lot quicker. But number two, we've been able to spend that extra money that we would normally spend on ads. We've been able to spend that on team members to be able to provide more to our clients, to have a better client experience, to provide more support, and also to help us grow internally even faster. So I'm going to stop this recording here for now, but hopefully there was some interesting value here. You have a good idea of what I'm trying to do with this, where we're going, and how you might actually benefit from seeing me blab about all this stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and head some. What up, Aspen? Look at that cute little girl. Look at her. Say to the camera. Did you have a great time out at the ranch? Yeah, she is absolutely muddy right now. So I get to clean my entire truck and wash her when I get home, which is exciting.
Verdict if I want to run more. I don't know yet. I'll feel like after the day, I will have a decision. I'll have so much time of 4 hours to ponder my whole life, my whole life story, and see if it's something that I want to continue doing. I will say our gym has helped out a ton, and that's been cool. Going to the Monarch and having the ice bath, and then I bounce.
You journal while you have the like.
Well, like you're just sitting there.
Wow. Okay. Probably look goofy as heck out here scanning up the mountain today. Do hard things. It's not easy. But I know when I get to the top, I'm gonna get some awesome turns on the way down. I got some fresh snow. It is, spring skiing, so it's a little wet, but I'm gonna get some awesome turns in. More of the story is anything that's worth doing, it's gonna be a little hard, right? It's not gonna be easy. But if you get after it, there's always something that you can share us on the other side that will be awesome. All right, so Monday morning, 7, got up a little late, had my alarm set for 6:30. But it is what it is, head to the gym. It is wonderful leg day. Super excited about this workout today. Reason why I headed out to California this weekend, not for business, but straight for pleasure. Me and my buddy from high school were actually running the uh, San Catalina uh, Transcendental Trail or Trans Catalina Trail, whatever it's called. It goes from harbor to harbor and then around the little point. And I'm gonna get somewhere between minimum 34 and up to 46 miles in. I do believe maybe a smidge more than that. So looking forward to that. My legs will most definitely be sore, not just from today, but after that as well. Um, but you're not here for that. You're here for the deeds. So basically, this month we're going to finish off somewhere around 100K in um, in sales revenue, which is not what we were looking for. We've been having some issues with our show rate, and we kind of got the lead flow ironed out a bit. We're booking like probably 4 to 5 calls a day right now, which isn't too bad. I'd like to get that up to 10 for us to comfortably hit the numbers that we want to hit for our goal. Uh, but basically, I'm going to be diving into our sharp rate, making sure we can do everything that we can in order to increase our show rate, increase our conversion rate, increase time with customer prior to sales call, content consumed per customer prior to sales call. And also, I'm going to be looking at a couple of different tools that I heard about over the weekend to help facilitate that as well. Also, I came up with some wild ideas for short form content that I think could potentially be really engaging. Uh, then again, I have an ADHD mind. They might be too overstimulating. It goes against what I'm trying to do here on this channel, but I got the ideas last night and I was like, screw it. I'm going to try it. So we'll see how that goes. And just so you guys know, hopefully you guys will see this content. But ideally what I'm going to do is I'm going to have face to camera video on top, and then I'm going to divide the screen in half, and I'm going to have uh, one of those either B-roll or very familiar videos that from either clip from movie or another influencer where you know what they are saying essentially. One of those trending videos with a POV or a meme on it or text. So instead of, just educating or just providing a ha-ha, I am doing both in the same go of it. I think it'd be extra educating because if my hook doesn't hit, my meme on the bottom, in fact, could hit. And then by the time you watch that, you want to hear potentially, and I'm gonna have these two related. I'm not gonna have them be disrelated. Uh, Potentially you'll want to watch the rest of the video. We'll see how that goes. So also one of the things I'm gonna do on this video is I'm gonna keep you guys kind of like up to date on sales, where we're at. Again, we're trying to build an 8-figure business, so that's $833,000 a month in revenue. Our objective is to do $5 million a year up front. No, on our upfront sales, not on our back end sales. So excluding any upsells, resigns, recurring revenue, whatever. So we have our work cut out for us, but it's doable. And it's funny. I was listening to a podcast yesterday when I was doing my workout, or maybe it was I skimmed up a mountain yesterday. One of the last few days of the season, I can actually do that. It was miserable skiing down. It had just snowed like 5 inches, and it was like skiing down through a pile just like a standing pile of water. Like it was so thick I couldn't get any speed. But I was listening to this podcast, and it was really interesting because all the educators in the space, like everyone wants to do 6 figures, and then everyone wants to do 7, and then you have these big shots who are like, I do 7. You have 1 or 2 that occasionally say, oh, I'm doing multiple 7 or 8 figures. But it was really interesting because it kind of just reframed my perspective. A bunch of people are talking about 8 and 9 figure opportunities now. The fascinating thing here is everyone has seemingly just woke up to membership content, which I just find so freaking funny. Because it's like we've been talking about and helping our clients build out memberships for years, and like, hey, you can easily, without it being your main offer, you can add on or essentially diversify at least 10% of your revenue, your customer, from your clients into short form content. But again, it's just something that like everyone that and with like the high ticket consulting membership now, $500 to $1,000 a month. I think it's interesting, and I think that just goes to show the economy probably isn't as strong as everyone thinks it is. But also, it just gets more competitive. So what happens when industries get more competitive? If you watch Elon Musk, rockets used to be insanely expensive, and he looked at the rockets and he said, "Why do they cost more than the raw materials, the metal, the silicon, the rubber, all of that stuff, the aluminum? Why do they cost more than the raw materials do?" And he factored in what he calls, I think he calls it like stupid pricing or inefficient pricing or whatever. And he said that's the difference between what raw materials cost and what they charge. Whatever that margin is, we need to get as close to the raw material cost as possible, or down to whatever standard manufacturing rates are possible. Because again, when it comes to like, and if you look at him, he makes the comparison. And he actually got this up because they're printing off like these cheap replicas of, not cheap, but like these toy models of Model Y and Model S Tesla cars. And excuse me, sorry. He was like, these are so accurate and they're so cheap. Why can't like? Because obviously they weren't quite all, but like a lot of them are like really close to like tolerances that they needed on the SpaceX rockets. And he's like, why can't we do this or that? So he's worked on engineering that down to like true cost. And that's why you've seen these spaceships go from hundreds of $1 million down to tens of millions of dollars. In fact, I forgot how much it costs. It's getting insanely cheap for these new Falcon 9 rockets. Obviously, Starship is really, 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 really big, but not discrediting the size of Falcon 9, but like it's getting stupid cheap for these things. Anyways, if you look at our industry that we're in, like consulting, like done with you business services, I feel like we are entering like the race to the bottom. ChatGPT has expedited that. And I'm not going to say race to the bottom, but like for these people who really don't deliver a lot besides the information, we are very much in a race to the bottom. Where my company stands differently, what we do differently in Laney Media, because the information has been out there prior. People were able to charge what they did because they consolidated the information. They consolidated the time to action. They consolidated it with their own experience, etc., etc., etc. Now, what's different now is, and it is not even different, but like you can ask ChatGPT to consolidate that information free for $20 a month or free. It's not that crazy, but the implementation is still the hard part. That's still, and I think implementation will most likely cost somewhere in the 5-figure range, just because of what it costs to hire at a certain point. Because when businesses scale, I think you might be able to hire someone for 4 figures, anywhere from like 2 to 10K. I think you'll be able to hire the beginner creators for a long time. The difference comes in is like if you want because there's going to be companies, eventually it's going to happen, someone's going to take up a decent share of the market, like 10, 20, 30%, and there's going to be 4 or 5 companies that control 50, 60% of the market, I think. A handful of companies. And if you're going to want to hire one of them, what it costs to hire someone who's built a 6-figure or 7-figure business is going to be the inhibiting factor if you actually want someone to help you build your business that is done with you. Because that's going to be option one. That's going to be the high-end stuff. That's probably going to be the top 10 to 20% of the market. The middle of the market, they're going to hire competent. I mean, we're talking McKinsey. They're going to hire people who went to a top-tier school, most likely, that got good grades, whatever, that they can teach on their methods. That's what it's going to look like, in my opinion. Because right now, the online space is the wild, wild west. I think we have 5 to 20 years before people actually open up their eyes and be like, oh, no. We messed up. This is legit business. Money is still green on the other side of the fence. And we want in on it. That's when everything also changes, because that's when you're going to get that second tier of companies. And it's just going to happen because it's just going to happen out of, I'd say, almost sheer greed. This is my theory. This is me talking on my butt. This is my opinion, right? So I think with where the industry is going, I think done with you and done for you, those two things, if you can drive real tangible results, they're going to have their place, and they're going to have their top tier pricing. Most likely and definitely. But again, if you're just providing education, or if you can, and I think there's going to be people who might not, maybe you can do, done with you, but group in a way that makes sense. Russell Brunson's coming out with his membership model. And it's kind of funny because he kind of has it branded in a similar way to Ryan Pineda's the wealthy way. But they're both launching these memberships that are relatively low ticket, that can go wide mass market appeal. And for your average day person who wants to be an entrepreneur but isn't there yet, they can sign up for these things. Right? And we'll see how they do. There's obvious issues if you're trying to run ads to sell a low ticket product. You can't spend as much money to acquire a customer. But again, your customer base, your TAM, your total addressable market is a lot bigger. So that's my morning musings. I have an hour to go absolutely destroy my legs. And then it's time to get after it. So I will talk to you guys later. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, back from the workout. I don't think I can feel my legs. Ugh. Might have overdone it a little bit considering what I got in store for me this weekend. So that is fun. Anyways, headed back. Gonna get a shower in. Gonna get some food in me. That way I don't do anything radical like pass out from a low blood sugar dealio. And yeah, gonna jump right into work. Gonna start the morning off by going through Slack and then editing some video. Then we got the sales team meeting, which is awesome. I think we have about 6 calls on the calendar for today. Again, would have liked to see some more considering it's a Monday. Usually we get a little bit build up on Monday and Tuesday over the weekend because we kind of have 3 days that we get to sell people on stuff over the weekend for Monday, Tuesday. But again, it's one of those things. Content, we're changing our content. We hired some coaches to get some outside perspective. We are and it's so important to hire a coach. No matter what you do, if you think you're the best person at running ads in the world, I really suggest you hire a coach to take an outside perspective and look at your ads. Still, why? Because when you're so involved in your own service, it can be really hard to identify the little things that you're not doing right. So hard. You think you're doing everything right, but you're not always doing everything right. Anyways, we hired a coach. We got those calls. We did our onboarding call with them. We got calls, I think, every Wednesday starting this week. Super exciting. And again, they teach most of the stuff that we teach our clients. Their research methods are a little different. I'd say they're a little bit more in-depth than what we currently do and what we currently teach. Well, I won't even say more in depth. I'd say there's a little bit more of a framework to it. The framework's a little bit more. I guess the framework's more. The framework is more specific because it's not like we don't suggest people to go in as much depth. Uh, but their framework specifically like focuses a lot. Uh, yeah, it's hard to describe. I'm having a hard time. I mean, I guess the most their framework is less loose and is more rigid, if that makes sense. Anyways, so we're excited about that. And basically, and I was talking to my mom, and I've been kicking myself about this for a while, uh, since our onboarding call, because it's basic statistics. Like it's so basic, and I just, like I said, I've been kicking myself about it. Because in statistics, you have a normal distribution, where if you take a a sample of a population that's a simple random sample, so it's not weighted. You're not like going into a doctor's office and only like sampling the doctors. Well, that wouldn't. And then you're like sampling them for like, what's your average education level? Like, okay, it's going to be like at least 8 years because like you're sampling doctors, right? But if you're to sample across the population, you probably get like 1.5 or something, or 2 years uh, of like average uh, secondary education. Cool. And the same thing happens in content and organic content. When you post something, it goes out to a sample of about 200 people. Typically, with some platforms, it goes out geographically first, or will tend to. And if it does well in that group, it will go out to the next group. And what we've been doing with our content is we've been trying to attract higher level clients. And of that 200, there's going to be a certain percentage of our ideal client that is doing like 10 to 50K a month, where we can help them go to like multiple 6 figures and then 7 figures a year, or multiple seven. Our ideal client is in there. There's a certain percentage, but the issue is we're trying to just target them and not go broad. Because if you want your content to do well, if you make content that only is good for like 3 of that 200 people, or let's say 10%, 20, you're probably not going to have good enough watch time for that to go out further on the platform. So you have to go broad enough that people can get that value from you, and that your content will go viral. Because as it goes viral, like if your content only gets 200 views, you're not going to reach like, let's say, 20 people in your target audience that like qualify. And that might be generous like for us with what we're trying to do, because it's probably closer to like five of those people that own businesses that are in that range of where we can really help them. So, and again, I just kicked myself because it's so obvious, yet again, I was too close to it to take a step back and do the in-depth analysis, where it's like, okay, we need to go really broad, because instead of if we, let's say we do more broad content, not super high focus on like what it takes to build a 7-figure business or 7 steps, or whatever. What if we took a step back and we made our content a little bit more broad, where instead of having this super niche content, we're like, okay, how to make your first sale, how to get your first lead, how to post your first video on social media, like the super simple stuff that like 90% of people like, you survey Americans, it's like 50% of Americans want to write a book, but only it's like, I think like 10,000 Americans each year actually like write a book. It's some stupid number where it's millions upon millions of people that want to write books, and then only thousands actually do, right? Um, so again, reaching the masses, and as you reach the masses, you're not going to get 200 views on your video. You're going to get 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, a million views on a video, because that reaches a much broader audience. But as you reach a much broader audience, that super specific niche, that 5 to 10 people that are your target audience isn't 5 to 10 anymore. You multiply that across the million, and let's say it's 1 to 2% of a video. You reach 100,000 people. You're reaching 1,000 people if your target audience, right? And it makes them a lot more likely to go consume your other content, to go consume your podcast, consume your YouTube, to go down your funnel, to click your link in bio, see how they can work with you, see how they can get that information that you provide, and then work with you. So, working on that with the content this week. Super excited to get started with those coaches. And yeah, I'll check in in a bit. Whoa, it worked. All right. This is gonna be like the most out of pocket vlog I've ever filmed because it's also my first, so therefore it has to be. Fun math there. Anyways, so I filmed a TikTok. Tried to follow this new framework. I don't think it was broad enough. I'm gonna post it, see what happens. Cause you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I'm gonna post it, see what happens. My wife said I didn't look like I had a stick up my butt filming it, which is, I guess, a great improvement upon my previous content. So there's that. And, well, included some B-roll. We'll see how it goes. Again, I'm not overly excited about the specific topic I made it on. I was brainstorming quickly. I didn't think about it enough. I think it could have been a lot better. But again, had to start somewhere. Got to be cringe before they bringe, as they say. Man, I gotta enunciate my words better. You guys are gonna be like, what the hell is he saying? Excuse my language. It's supposed to be G-rated. What the heck? Anyways, yeah. Just dropped Kinda off to get a massage. She's had a killer migraine all day, so booked her a massage. Number one husband goes to me. I awarded that to myself. She also said, her words, "You're so sweet." So therefore, I'm pretty amazing. I got a "You're so sweet," and also got her some Chick-fil-A and some crumble because she didn't eat anything all day. She's basically been passed out. She just like died coming back from her business trip, her one-on-one intensive of her client. Because her flight got delayed yesterday, she was basically up for like 24 hours straight, which is rough on anyone. But when you're also super prone to getting migraines, it makes it especially rough. So that's that, and I'll keep you guys up to date. All right, so basically, today's been a little wild. Yeah, I'm debating about what to do about our show rate currently. It's like I said earlier, it's not where we want it. Got some decent ideas going on though for content. Gonna film some here in a little bit. Kenda's been like under the weather all day too. Like she has had the worst migraine. She was just up too long yesterday because her flight got delayed. She was up basically for 24 hours and it just like wiped her out. So she's been recovering all day as well, and I've been trying to take care of her. Luckily, she's been mostly asleep, so it's been easy. Just got her food ordered, got her some sweets, and a massage booked as well. She's up now. So that's awesome. I'm gonna film some content here. Hopefully it's good. We'll see if it's good. But the only way to find out if it's good is to film it and to post it and then get 200 views. JK. Hopefully I get more than 200 views, but you guys know how it goes. It's one of those never-ending battles. And then I gotta edit all of this YouTube content today. That is not easy. I'm probably gonna combine 3 or 4 days into one, just because. Yeah, I didn't get enough that I wanted to throughout the days. Yeah, it's a new habit. I'm not good at it yet. And like I have these long monologues, but like I want these to be like really quick, like nuggets of information, but I also don't have like that much time to edit. And I'm trying to get my editors right now to edit content for Kinda. Long story there. To, supercharge the YouTube channel and that growth. So it is what it is. We're here, but we're doing it. And that's all that matters. So